A beautiful, bright young woman, a promising future ripped away in the blink of an eye. Lauren Spierer was just 20 years old, a student at Indiana University with the whole world at her feet. She was vibrant, she was loved, she was full of life. Then, one summer night in June 2011, she simply vanished. Poof, gone. Lauren walked out of a friend's flat in Bloomington, Indiana, and into a mystery that has haunted her family, her community, and the entire nation for 14 long years. How does a person just disappear from a busy student town, leaving behind her shoes, her mobile phone, and a trail of unanswered questions? This isn't some Hollywood script, folks. This is real life, a real family's nightmare. The sheer mystery of Lauren's disappearance is what makes it so utterly chilling. There was no ransom note, no clear signs of a struggle, no definitive evidence of what tragic fate befell her. She was last seen on CCTV, a grainy, fleeting image of a young woman walking barefoot and alone in the pre-dawn hours. From that moment, it's as if she was erased from existence. For her parents, Rob and Charlene Spierer, the world stopped on June 3, 2011. They have spent every single day since then fighting for answers, pleading for someone, anyone, to come forward with the truth. This case is a gaping wound, a puzzle with crucial pieces deliberately hidden from view. The night Lauren went missing was meant to be a typical evening of fun for a university student. A night out with friends, enjoying the start of summer. But it descended into a confusing, alcohol-fueled haze that ended in the worst possible way. The people she was with that night hold keys to this puzzle, yet their stories have been scrutinized, questioned, and found wanting. We are left with a void, a black hole of information right where the truth should be. The lack of closure is a special kind of torture for those who love her, a constant state of not knowing that is almost unbearable to comprehend. 14 years later, as we mark this grim anniversary on this day, 23rd June 2025, the questions echo louder than ever. Where is Lauren Spierer? What happened in those critical minutes after she left that flat? Who knows more than they are saying? The silence from those who were with her in her final hours is deafening. They went on with their lives, graduating, getting jobs, moving on. But for Lauren, time is frozen. She remains 20 years old forever, a ghost in a town that has tried to move on but can never truly forget the girl who vanished without a trace. Let's break it down, folks. Let's walk through the last known movements of Lauren Spierer. This is a timeline of a life unraveling, a path that led to a dead end. It all began on the evening of Thursday, 2nd June 2011. Lauren was getting ready for a night out. She was with friends, she was drinking, she was having a good time. But as the hours ticked by, things took a dark turn. Every step she took, every person she met, is a critical piece of this investigation. We have to look at this timeline and ask ourselves, where did it all go so horribly wrong? Who saw something? Who did something? Here is the timeline of that fateful night, a roadmap to a mystery. Around 12:30 a.m. on Friday, 3rd June, Lauren leaves her own flat building with a friend, David Rohn. They head to a mutual friend's place, Jay Rosenbaum's flat, for a short while before going to a popular student bar, Kilroy's Sports Bar. This is where the night starts to get messy. Witnesses say Lauren was visibly intoxicated. She leaves her shoes and her mobile phone at the bar. Why? Was she that disoriented? Or was there another reason? These are not just small details. They are potential clues to her state of mind and vulnerability on that night. The timeline continues. At approximately 2:30 a.m., Lauren leaves Kilroy's with another friend, Corey Rossman. They walk towards her flat complex, but on the way, they encounter a group of young men. There's an altercation. Corey Rossman is punched in the face. He later claims he has no memory of the rest of the night due to being hit and his level of intoxication. Lauren reportedly tends to him, and they eventually make their way to his flat building. This is a critical moment, an argument, a physical fight. Was this random, or was it connected to what happened next? The fog of that night is thick with alcohol and missing memories. The final leg of this journey is the most confusing and the most crucial. At around 3:30 a.m., Lauren leaves Corey Rossman's flat and goes across the corridor to Jay Rosenbaum's flat, the same one she visited earlier. She stays there for about an hour. Jay Rosenbaum is the last person known to have seen her. He tells police she left his flat at approximately 4:30 a.m., barefoot and alone, to walk the few blocks back to her own home. He says he watched her from his balcony until she turned a corner. And then, nothing. She was gone. Why let a friend, clearly intoxicated and without her shoes or phone, walk home alone in the dark? That is the million-dollar question. Let's talk about the cast of characters in this tragedy, the people Lauren was with in her final hours. These are not strangers. These were her friends, her peers. At the center of it all are the three young men who were with her that night: Corey Rossman, Jay Rosenbaum, and David Rohn. These were the last people to see Lauren alive, the keepers of the final chapter of her story. From the very beginning, investigators focused on them, and for good reason. Their accounts of the night were hazy, contradictory, and plagued by claims of alcohol-induced memory loss. Is that a convenient excuse, or the unfortunate truth of a night of excessive student drinking? Corey Rossman, the friend who was with Lauren after leaving the bar and who was reportedly punched, hired a lawyer almost immediately. He claimed the blow to his head, combined with alcohol, left him with no memory of what happened after they arrived at his building. He submitted to a police interview and a polygraph test, but the results were never publicly released. His lack of memory at such a critical juncture has always been a major point of suspicion. If you were with a friend who then vanished, wouldn't you rack your brain for every single detail, no matter how small? The silence and the memory gaps are deafening. Then there is Jay Rosenbaum, the last person to admit seeing Lauren. He told police she left his flat at 4:30 a.m. to walk home. He also retained legal counsel early on and has been described by Lauren's parents as uncooperative. He has never spoken publicly about the case. Think about that. Your friend disappears after leaving your home and you refuse to help her desperate parents? You refuse to make public pleas for information? It's a behavior that screams that there is something to hide. What happened inside that flat between 3:30 and 4:30 a.m.? That 1 hour could hold the key to this entire mystery. The other individuals, including David Rohn and Mike Beth, who were also with the group, were questioned extensively. The police investigation was massive, one of the largest in Indiana's history. They searched lakes, landfill sites, and woodland areas. They followed up on thousands of tips. But a wall of silence seemed to surround the young men Lauren was with. Lauren's parents have repeatedly stated their belief that these individuals have not been truthful and hold the information that could solve this case. They have lived their lives, graduated, and moved on, while the Spierers are trapped in a never-ending nightmare, waiting for a conscience to kick in. When you have no body and no crime scene, all you are left with are theories. And in Lauren Spierer's case, the theories are as numerous as they are heartbreaking. The simplest explanation, and the one investigators initially leaned towards, is a stranger abduction. A predator saw a vulnerable young woman, alone and intoxicated, and seized the opportunity. Bloomington is situated near major motorways, making a quick getaway possible. Police investigated several persons of interest and registered sex offenders in the area, but no definitive link was ever established. It's a terrifying thought that a monster was lurking in the shadows, just waiting for the perfect victim. Another prominent theory, and one that Lauren's parents have given credence to, is that her death was an accident, followed by a panicked cover-up. Perhaps Lauren, in her intoxicated state, fell and hit her head. Or maybe she suffered from an overdose or alcohol poisoning. The people with her, fearing the consequences for themselves, made a terrible decision to hide her body rather than call for help. This theory would explain the lack of cooperation from her friends. It would explain the wall of silence. It's a story of cowardice and selfishness leading to an unimaginable tragedy for a family. The whispers of something more sinister have also circulated. Could her friends have been directly involved in causing her harm, not just covering it up? Was the altercation that Corey Rossman was involved in more significant than reported? Was there an argument that got out of hand? Without credible testimony from those present, we are left to speculate. Police have stated that the men remain persons of interest, but have never had enough evidence to name any of them as official suspects or to make an arrest. The lack of physical evidence has been the biggest roadblock in this case from day one. Finally, there are darker, more sprawling theories involving human trafficking, or even a link to other missing persons cases in the region. These are often fueled by online sleuths and, honestly, are harder to substantiate. However, in a case with no answers, people will look for patterns everywhere. The truth is, we just don't know. Each theory presents a different path to the same horrific outcome. Lauren is gone. Whether by the hand of a stranger, the panicked actions of her friends, or something else entirely, the end result is a void. A 20-year-old girl erased. The not knowing is the cruelest part of this entire ordeal. 14 years, a lifetime for a young person. For Rob and Charlene Spierer, it has been 14 years of suspended animation, of fighting, of begging for the truth. The central question remains as stark and painful today as it was in 2011. Where is Lauren? Every other question stems from this one. What truly happened inside Corey Rossman's and Jay Rosenbaum's flats? Why did they hire lawyers and stop cooperating so quickly? Why would a friend let another friend, so obviously vulnerable, walk home alone in the dark without a phone or shoes? These questions have been asked 1,000 times, but they remain unanswered. The impact on the Spierer family is immeasurable. They have channeled their grief into a relentless quest for justice. They have maintained a social media presence, appeared on countless news programs, and kept Lauren's story in the public eye. They have had to endure the pain of false leads, the cruelty of internet trolls, and the agony of watching the young men who were last with their daughter remain silent. Their strength is staggering, but their pain is palpable. They have said that their lives are now divided into two parts, before Lauren went missing and after. The after is a constant search for an answer that someone, somewhere, is withholding. The community of Bloomington was also deeply shaken. The case shattered the sense of safety in the idyllic university town. For years, posters with Lauren's face were on every shop window and lamppost. The search efforts involved thousands of volunteers who scoured every inch of the surrounding countryside. Even today, Lauren's name is synonymous with a lingering fear and a collective sadness. The case serves as a permanent, cautionary tale for students at Indiana University. It's a reminder of how quickly a night of fun can turn into a lifelong tragedy, and how a community can be haunted by a single unanswered question. Today, in June 2025, the investigation into Lauren Spierer's disappearance is officially a cold case, but it is not closed. It remains active, with detectives assigned to follow up on any new leads that emerge. The reward for information leading to her whereabouts, or to the arrest of anyone responsible, stands at a significant sum, a testament to the hope that money might finally loosen a tongue. The Spierer family continues to plead for that one person with a conscience to come forward. 14 years is too long. They deserve answers. Lauren deserves justice. And somewhere out there, someone knows exactly what happened to her. The question is, will they ever tell?